Hey, it's Andrew here from Pink Cake Princess. Today I'm going to show you how to create these gorgeous ice cream cupcakes. You can also see how to do my rainbow cupcakes at the end of this video. Now you can use my marshmallow frosting recipe or the Swiss meringue buttercream recipe for the topping and my vanilla cupcakes recipe for the base. For this demo I'm just using a couple of cake pack mix. These are from Greens and this is the ingredients that were needed with the packets. I'm creaming up my butter, scraping the sides every so often, and then I'm adding in my 2 packet cake mix and my eggs, and then just mixing it up on low so that it comes together before I add in my milk, a bit at a time. I've lined my tray with some of these ice cream cones and I'm using a scoop and a knife to help me get the batter in. This cupcake tray was from IKEA. It's nice and high to hold my ice cream cones in. Now I want it to fill it up just a little bit higher, just underneath that second line. So I'm just using my scoop to scoop up about another half a scoop into each ice cream cone. Tapping it on the bench, and then I'm going to bake it in an oven that's been preheated to 180 degrees Celsius for about 18 to 20 minutes, or until a skewer comes out with a few crumbs on it. I'm going to let my cupcakes cool. Now here I'm using this Tropic Rich and Smooth topping that comes in a carton and you can get it from your specialty cake decorating stores. You can use the icing packet mix that you get from the cake mix, but I decided to try this particular method for this demo. I whipped it up on medium speed for about 6 minutes. Be careful not to over whip it. It looks like a soft serve topping. I'm dividing it into my little bowls and I'm going to add some food colour in to create my colours. You can add a few extra drops if you want the colour to be more deeper. Now onto the ice cream, I'm just going to use my little knife and I'm just going to cover the top of my cupcakes. Just gently going around and then just shaping the top to look like an ice cream cone. You can of course pipe this on as well with a swirl. You can see how I pipe a swirl on with my other cupcake ice cream tutorial where I use my marshmallow frosting. Don't forget to click the like button below if you like this tutorial and share it with anyone who loves ice cream. Now with my leftovers, I've put it all together and I'm just spreading it onto my cupcakes. Just gently spreading the colours out where I want it. Don't spread it too much, otherwise it'll totally combine and you don't want that. You just want it to look a little bit like a rainbow. And that's it. That's my rainbow cupcakes and my ice cream cupcakes. Hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Hi, it's Andrew here from Pink Cake Princess. I'm going to show you how to bake perfect vanilla cupcakes. These are the same cupcakes that I use on my channel to decorate with. They are really super soft and fluffy and light and they taste absolutely delicious. You can find the ingredients in the video description below as well. Okay, to start off with, we're just going to sift our plain flour. There's roughly about 500 grams of plain flour and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now I'm just doing it in 2 lots and just sifting it through in my sifter to get rid of all the lumps. And don't you love these little Love Heart teaspoons and Love Heart measuring cups that I received last year? I got them and I absolutely love using them. Okay, so there you go, there's the second half of it done. It's going through nicely. Now we're just going to set that aside while we work on our butter and sugar. Okay, so into the mixer with our butter. Now this is room temperature butter. It's been sitting there until it's room temperature and then I'm mixing it through with my mixer. If you don't have one of these mixers, you can use a handheld mixer. You can easily pick up one for relatively cheaply nowadays in your local supermarket or your department stores. We're just going to mix it through for about a few minutes until the butter becomes light and fluffy, and then I'm just going to add in my caster sugar. I'm adding it in about 1/3 at a time and I'm mixing it through on my high setting and just scraping the sides so that everything does get mixed together. Okay, and then I'm just going to add in my second portion of it, another 1/3, and then mixing it through for about a minute. And as you can see, it's getting paler and lighter and fluffier as you add in more sugar. Okay, and that's it. That's the final addition of the caster sugar, and then mixing it through for another minute or so. Okay, scraping the sides again, and now I'm just going to add in my egg mixture, well, 1 egg at a time, and beating it for roughly about a minute after each addition, just to make sure that it's mixed through nicely. Okay, and then once I've added my 4th egg, I'm going to get my vanilla extract. Now I'm adding in about 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Again, I'm loving that heart-shaped measuring spoon. And don't go for the cheap stuff. Don't go for the vanilla essence. It's not as nice as the vanilla extract. It'll make a huge difference to the taste of your cupcakes in the end. So it's worth spending that little bit extra for the vanilla extract. Okay, so now I'm adding in my flour mixture that I sifted earlier. I'm adding in about 1/3 at a time, and I'm just gently mixing it through on my very light setting on my mixer because I don't want to overbeat it. And then I'm also adding 1/2 my cup of milk, and then another 1/3 of the flour mixture, and then mixing it through until it just mixes through. And then I'm going to just scrape the sides so everything mixes in very nicely. And then adding in the 2nd portion of my milk, and it's coming together nicely. Okay, and then the final flour portion, and then just mixing that through. Now I love the texture of this this batter. It's not super thick and it's not super runny. It's just perfect for what I do. Okay, so just scraping the excess off there, and then just gently mixing it through to get rid of all the lumps, so that you've got a nice batter to work with. Okay, now with my muffin tins, I'm putting in my cupcake patties. If you're interested in which ones I use, there it is there. And then I'm going to use my ice cream scoop and a knife just to scoop in my mixture. I'm using this method so that I get the same size cupcakes for each cupcake. Yeah, you basically get the same size cupcake if you do it this method. And just tapping it onto the table, and then I'm going to bake it in my oven. The oven has been preheated for about 20 minutes on 175 degrees Celsius. And roughly at 20 minutes, that's when they're cooked. But if you're unsure about how your oven works, you can check at about 15 minutes. You can insert a skewer, and if it comes out clean or with a few crumbs in it, that's when your cupcake is done. Okay, then you can take it out of your muffin tin and then just put it on your cake rack so that it will down, and that's basically your cupcake done. It's so light and fluffy. I'll show you the inside. It's absolutely delicious and perfect for my cake decorating tutorials on YouTube. And you can keep it up to 3 to 4 days in a cake container, one similar to this one, just something to keep the air out of it so it doesn't dry out. And that's it, that's my perfect...
Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Cakes by Sharon. Today I'm going to show you how to create a very trendy, very original and super simple chalkboard cake just like this one. These cakes are really in fashion at the moment, and they're the perfect example of what happens when old school meets new school. So let's get started. To start with, of course, you need a cake, and here I already have my cake, which has been covered in some black fondant. I also have an assortment of paint brushes. I have a little square tipped brush with stiff bristles. I have a nice thick brush with very soft bristles, as well as a very fine tip brush and a fan brush, which I'll keep till the very end to add the dusty chalk look to the cake. I also have some white icing colour, and this one is a Wilton's brand, as well as some rose spirits. I also like to use a little pipette for the rose spirits so that it prevents me from pouring too much out. I've also got here a handy little non-toxic crayon. I just picked this up from my local cake shop, but you can easily use a light coloured piece of candy melt and use it as a crayon as well. And of course I've got a little paint palette. Now the beauty of these cakes is that they lend themselves to hand-drawn art quite nicely, so you don't have to be a great artist. And here I just want to draw an off-centre whimsical love heart, a little bunting flag, as well as a banner across the love heart. I'm using my little crayon, but as I said, it could easily just be a little piece of candy melt that I'm holding in my hand. Now at the moment I'm not too happy about the extra lines that I've drawn on my cake or the position of my banner. So just like a real chalkboard, I'm going to wipe it off and redo it. Here I have a makeup sponge which I've just dipped in a tiny little bit of water, and I can just easily erase anything I don't want off from my cake. The moisture left behind will soon evaporate, and once I start painting over my design, you'll see that all the marks get covered up. Now in the paint palette I've put about 4 drops of the white icing colour together with the same amount of rose spirits, and I can start painting over my sketch lines on the cake. You can see how this instantly makes the design stand out, and it really looks fantastic. So now I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the love heart with some fun words and then start on the banner. As you get more confident with this technique, you can even paint directly onto the cake without even needing to do a sketch first. Chalkboard designs are really fun and whimsical, and you can really put anything you want on them. So I've just added a few more little flowers, hearts and leaves here and there. It's really a kind of busy design. You can always go back over the painted lines to make the white more intense, but it also adds interest to the cake when there are different shades of white paint, because it tends to look more like a real chalkboard. Once I'm happy with the final design, I'm going to use this fan brush to lightly dust over some icing sugar on the cake using some horizontal brush strokes, and this is going to look like it's been dusted off once or twice before. At this point, the chalkboard technique is really finished, but because I want this cake to look really fun and bright, I'm going to add these gorgeous rainbow flowers, which I just picked up from my local florist, making sure to wrap each of the stems in flower tape first before positioning them on the cake. So guys, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial on how to create these really funky cakes. I really love them because they're so eye-catching.